Hey guys, welcome to another video of Complete Geek. Today, we will be discussing all the games we've been playing lately, which we got some good ones. So,
there's been a lot of really great games.
Gate games.
Gate games. There's been a lot of great games that have come out in just the last week.
Yeah.
We've got.
It's been hard.
So we're probably mainly going to focus on Persona 5 Royal.
Yep.
Resident Evil 3
Remake, and then good old Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, got some good perspectives because both of us beat Persona 5. We're huge Persona fans. And he has fresh eyes on Final Fantasy VII, so he gets to do a perspective I've never really played it before.
Yes, I've never fully played the game, so
yep.
I played probably 2 or 3 hours of the original a year ago, just for fun, and didn't finish it. I had a bunch of other games to get to at the time. So this is kind of my first time ever playing Final Fantasy VII, and
yep.
I'm really liking it. I think I didn't realize how many different interactions you could have with the girls in that game, and I think you were telling me it was like that in the beginning. And It's funny because that was one of my favorite things about Persona, and why I loved the Persona games was the kind of character interaction and the social links and all that stuff. And so it's not exactly the same in Final Fantasy, but it's cooler than I thought it would be. I didn't realize it was going to be like that.
I didn't want to say, too, guys, we're going to try to avoid spoilers, but there may be spoilers in this video, just to give you a heads up. But, yeah, on the original...
I don't want spoilers either, because I haven't finished
That's true,
it,
yeah, exactly.
So please don't ruin it for me.
On the original Final Fantasy VII, which it's a point system, not that it shows you, but depending on what you say, and a good example, we were talking about this yesterday, was... I guess I don't want to say too much, but there's basically a part where Aerith is asking if Tifa's your girlfriend, which happens in the original, but you get choices, and it actually gives points either towards her.
This is the original?
Tifa. Yeah, on the original.
Okay.
So my guess is they've gotten rid of that altogether, so you can just basically, I don't know,
so
hit on everyone.
You don't think there's points in this one?
I don't think so, unless they start implementing that later on the other one, but that's what I can tell, which... In a way, it is kind of fun, though, because it feels like Cloud's kind of now flirting, and they are flirting. I should say they're even more flirting with him.
And I hope it doesn't, I loved how, this is going back to Persona, how on Persona 4, you could date all the girls, and it didn't really have a negative
so for
until Valentine's Day.
That was rough. Yeah.
But Persona 5, I don't think I've tried in Persona 5 yet to date all the girls. I know in Persona 3, if you try... They get mad.
Yeah. We've done, I think we've beat it. I don't know if you have too. I've beat it with every girl. I've dated them all. In
Persona?
Just individually and all together, just to see all the multiples. But yeah, I've played way too much of that. But
so do you think Final Fantasy VII, do you think it's going to hurt? If when I've played, I don't know if I should say this. I mean, I feel like this is kind of a given of what we already said. But from what I've played 10 hours so far. And I've already agreed to go on a date with Tifa.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about this when we both played it the other day, but now where I'm at in the game, I'm hanging out with Aerith, and I feel that a question of that, because she mentions something about a date. If I say yes to that, will I be in trouble with Tifa, do you think? Or do you think they carried that over into the
I don't
new,
think
the
so. You did get point deductions in the original, and it is funny. I didn't even know this till way later on in life, because when I first played it, I was I think in 9th grade or something, and I remember I loved it so much. I was like, don't do this, kids. But I remember I was being fake sick just to stay home and play this game, because that's how much I loved it. But I didn't even know this till I was older, that there was a point system, and that... because I remember when I was younger, I was kind of just saying the right things to each person in a way because I didn't want to be rude, and I didn't realize, though, that was deducting points with the girls on other stuff I was saying to them. And so I missed some of the stuff that I didn't find out till later, like with the scene with Tifa later on and so forth. But
I guess we'll see about that then.
Yeah, I think they're gonna, as far as I can tell, they're gonna leave it out, which I guess I'm actually okay with because, it just makes it so you don't feel like you're having to just pick and choose right away, especially if they're expanding this like 5 games that's going to carry over, which I'm guessing it will.
But. And I mean, if like save data does carry over, I could see where they maybe make you choose in like a later game.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see.
Without saying too much of what I've heard,
I should point out too, real quick, we haven't beaten the remake. We haven't beaten Persona 5 Royal or Resident Evil 3 remake because we were playing juggling them. I'm like 30 hours into Royal, like 9 or 10 into 7.
I think
and then
based on our talk earlier today, I think we're both around 10 in remake.
Somewhere around there, 8.
I have not played Royal yet. That might be a good thing to jump over and talk about. Because, I would say both of us, if we had to pick a top favorite game of all time, I think we would both pick Persona 4.
Persona 4 Golden.
Am I correct in that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, real
Persona
quick,
4
actually,
Golden, yes.
what I did want to say real fast too, just our quick thoughts on the Final Fantasy VII remake, and we'll go over to Royal. Is that I think it's I can't even tell you guys how many times I've teared up in the game. Like, he was over when I first booted it up, and just hearing the prelude start. I've been a huge Final Fantasy fan. It was like I played Final Fantasy 4-2 on the Super Nintendo here when I was young, and that was my first like real favorite game. And then of course Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 6. But anyways, not to ramble on, but I love it. I know there's some mixed feelings because of the combat changes. And apparently Dementors, ghost things in the game.
I don't quite understand what those are, what their point is.
But to me, there's a lot more, especially you coming from the first 3 hours. You've already played some of these things. It really builds even more on the characters.
There really is so much more because I don't know. It's weird because I remember the only Final Fantasy VII I had played before was I downloaded it on the Switch about a year ago. I played it while I was on a plane for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And within those 2.5 to 3 hours, I remember I had already hung out with Aerith. We had already gone to the church and done that battle.
You already got Cloud in a dress, right?
Yeah.
At that
there
point?
Was already that point where Cloud has to dress up as a girl in order to sneak into this club. And like all that stuff. And I'm 10 hours into the remake and haven't gotten to that yet.
Exactly.
At 10 hours in, I just recently played the battle in the church against, is it Reno?
Yep.
And so like it is amazing how much they've fleshed out, but it's weird because it doesn't feel
it doesn't
long.
feel like they're trying to extend it.
I know. I actually texted you yesterday and said, this is nothing against Resident Evil 3.
Yep.
Like, I texted you and said, it's crazy that I've played 3 hours of Resident Evil 3, and I feel like I've been playing it for so long already.
And not a knock on the game, by the way.
No,
We're just
I'm
trying
loving
to make
Resident
a point.
Evil 3 already. But yeah, and then I said I've already played 10 hours of Final Fantasy VII, and
quick.
And haven't even realized it. Like.
And honestly, I've even heard some complaints about the world, which there is some things like the doors on Cloud and Tifa's apartment, like they look like from a PS1 game. The doors, did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't.
The
pay
textures.
Attention.
That's what I'm saying. There's just random like texture things in the game, but overall, in my opinion, I'm just like everything just looks so beautiful, especially coming from the PS1 game, of course. But characters look phenomenal.
I don't mind.
I love the voice acting.
And
too.
I don't really mind stuff like that. Like I like when games look good.
Yeah.
But like. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever nitpick on things like that because overall the game does look amazing.
Yeah, I've taken like 5 screenshots. I haven't taken a screenshot in a game in a while. It's really cool.
It's funny. I think the last screenshot of a game I intentionally took. My daughter likes to grab Switch controllers and screenshot that sometimes. The last game I intentionally took a screenshot of, I believe, was the Final Fantasy X remake.
Yeah, or
not remake, but remaster.
Yeah.
There were some scenes.
Water scene.
There were some scenes in that just looked awesome. I even saved it as my Vita background, and may even do the same on my Switch.
Yeah. And I guess real quick we'll just cover combat. I kind of knew what I was expecting from seeing this, and I'm enjoying it. Mm-hmm. It is weird at first, especially coming from a lot of JRPGs like we play. You start getting used to it, especially kind of now where I'm at the 7-hour mark. I'm actually starting to enjoy it. So
I would say, as far as combat goes as well, I would most closely relate it to Kingdom Hearts. I really liked Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm the kind of person. Not that Kingdom Hearts doesn't have a great story, but it's a confusing story.
One, yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. If you claim that you understand Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't believe you.
Especially with that playing the other games.
Yes. Or just the Kingdom Hearts series in general.
Yeah.
But Kingdom Hearts 3 had such fun gameplay. I think it's the only game that, even though I was like, I watched playthroughs of all the others, I played a little bit of some of the others, and I tried to get myself up to where I knew what I was doing in Kingdom Hearts 3, where I was still so confused but didn't care because the gameplay was so fun. Mm-hmm. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is a lot, it's a lot like that. It's very similar. It's almost the exact same battle system, I would say, only Cloud can't jump.
Yeah. Which, so I did hear some reviews talk about that, which that doesn't really bother me. It's something I even thought about, which someone did mention that. It would be cool, of course. Like, if I had to think of some knocks on the game just to come up with some stuff, I think, one, if I could actually make it to where the summons just either you could control them, or if they just come in and do a powerful attack and then leave, mm-hmm. I think I might be okay with that.
Yeah, the summons
to
definitely
where you
are.
can start picking summons and then use them in every battle, but I understand why they did it, though. At the same time, they didn't want to make it to where they just knock out everybody in 1 second. And
the summons are definitely different, because at least, just having played Final Fantasy X,
we got the Resident Evil 10 copy early.
A good chunk of Final Fantasy 9 and quite a bit of Final Fantasy 12, and knowing, I really like turn-based battle mm-hmm. games. Coming into it from that and knowing that the summons could like you said, they're just one big thing. Yeah. You could use a summon in a random encounter battle if you wanted.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Which you can't in this. The summons, they only give you that option in a either a boss fight or something that's extremely difficult, and mm-hmm. it knows you need it.
Yeah, I will say this though too. It's not like 15 was, because 15 the summons, they were so cool, and I'm like, why can I never use these? It had to be a specific thing.
Well, but you wanted to make sure you needed that summon in 15, because once you used it, you sat there on the couch for the next 20 minutes just watching it.
I know, that's true. That's true too. But yeah, this though, it's basically any boss fight, or if you have a big enemy encounter, you can basically summon them once you get your gauge up, sort of thing. But,
and there is a big attack that they do, because
yeah, once the bar goes down.
Yeah, because when you summon them, they come in and they start kind of punching and brawling on whatever enemy you're fighting at the same time, with you, and then before they leave, it does a big attack.
Yep.
So overall damage that it does against the thing is probably similar to how the summons have always been.
No, exactly.
It's just it's done a little differently.
But yes, overall, we're both really enjoying the game. I think it looks beautiful. Voice acting, I would say, really good.
I would say it's my favorite game I've played since Persona 5, the first Persona 5, because I haven't played Royal yet. Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So yeah, we're not going to spend as much time on. Last thing I wanted to mention about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I was telling him. I actually heard some reviews where they were saying the side quest in Final Fantasy VII Remake were kind of pointless, which that is not the case.
That is not the case.
Yeah, which, by the way, you can knock them out pretty quickly. There's usually only 6 per a town as far as what we've done so far. But you have to basically finish them to add some story with Tifa, and I think something with Aerith. I don't know if it's the dresses or what. We're not going to go all into that, but you should do them all.
Yes, from what I understand so far, you don't get certain interactions with Aerith or Tifa. They might not wear certain dresses later on in the game if you don't do all the side quests in each town.
Yeah.
So
we just say do them all.
They really are pretty short. I think I did all the side quests for a town in 30 minutes total.
Yeah, but I can understand some people like hating the fact that you have to do that or annoyed. But I will say the game does not feel bloated.
Mm-mm.
You knock him out quick. You feel like Cloud's doing his job while this chaos is going on. It's hard to explain, but I think they did a nice job with it.
I will say, so far, the side quests, I think they did a good job. A game that I think was a great game, but also didn't do the side quests as well was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The Torna, the second game of that, where it started off with a really cool story and then became, hey, you have to do these 75 side quests in order to to continue the story now. And like they weren't really part of the game either. It was just like you kind of just felt
very different. Yeah.
Like you almost didn't want to do them.
Yep. So, but anyways, great first impressions. We're loving it, and I'm already thinking about the next game now. Like how excited I am to keep diving into it. So, all right, well, I guess go over to Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah,
just cover it real quickly because
it's gonna be hard to be quick.
I know it's true. It's just that
this is okay if this video's longer.
Okay.
I feel like that's normal for discussion videos to be long. We're trying to talk about 3 games in one video here.
Yeah, I don't. We may just cover some differences that we're noticing over the first. It seems like on Royal, like I said, I've played about 30 hours, that they've really added some good improvements to just the overall combat system. There's definitely some more story parts. I'm trying to think of what I can say without spoiling too much, but there's 2 new social link parts in there that it does add some stuff. But one thing that's kind of cool is your Baton Pass, whenever you get someone weak, an enemy, and pass it on to another character, now when you pass it, that next character is going to attack more powerful, and it can keep going until it does all 4. And then later on in the game, it's not too far in, but whenever you can do darts, you can make it now where your Baton Pass not only makes it more powerful, but they also gain some HP and SP back.
Oh,
when it
cool.
does it. And that's pretty neat. But
that's definitely awesome. Because I feel like SP was always hard to keep.
Yeah, it is. I know, exactly. Because when you're trying to make these enemies weak, you go through it pretty quickly, it seems like. But
do you feel as though there's more humor in it? Because for me, we've talked about this a lot, just to each other, but Persona 4 is probably, I would say, my favorite game of all time. Mm-hmm. And I just feel that way because the characters are so awesome. The story is so engaging that you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, this is a debate I even have with some friends, because there's people that they like 5 even better, and that's totally fine. I love 5 too, but
and I'm sure we'll have comments of no, Persona 5 is by far better.
Totally great. Your opinion's not wrong. That's your own opinion.
That's fine if you like Persona 5 better.
Both great games.
And while based on controls and the aesthetics of the game and all that is yes, they upgraded things. It looks better, it plays better, and that's great. But for me, I loved the story of Persona 4. I thought the characters were awesome. And when Persona 4 was over, it was weird. I was like...
I feel like more of a mystery.
Yes.
That you're trying to solve this.
Yeah, and not only that, I was going to say when Persona 4 was over, I didn't want it to be over because I wanted to keep hanging out with those characters. They felt like they were actually your real friends. And I feel like while I liked the game, Persona 5 as a game, when it was over, I kind of was like, okay, good. That game went on long enough. I'm ready for it to be done. And not that I didn't like it. I love Persona 5 as well. But would you say with Royal, do you think it adds some more of the character development and friendship? Because to me, that was always the one flaw I think Persona 5 had, was that the friends, your friend group never felt as close of friends as 4 did in a way.
Yeah, we kind of discussed this too, about how on 5, whenever you do the events, for instance, it doesn't ever seem like they really get away from the main theme. It's where on 4, it's kind of they're trying to hang out to during these hard things that are going on, to just try to enjoy each other's company. So there was this light, fun, fun to it, and it was hilarious with the things that they did, and it kind of gives you a nice break of just friends hanging out before it kind of goes back into the darker mystery theme, and we really enjoyed that part, the humor and character development. And I will say, keep in mind that the 30 hours is actually not that far into the game, which is
no, it's a very long game.
To where as of right now, I do think it's a little bit better. But, there's been a couple funny things that have happened, but it's definitely not 4 as of right now as far as that goes, as far as humor and lightheartedness goes. But, granted, I have a huge chunk I got to play to find out how different it is. But there's definitely a lot of differences, though, so far.
I'll probably go to that one after I finish Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, I always hoped Persona 5 would have more of that, like, that humor. I just feel like, I remember when I was playing it, like the part where they go to the buffet, it's like, I was like, all right, this is
finally
gonna be fun.
First event, I know,
or like Hawaii, for instance. They go to Hawaii, and I was like, okay, cool, there's going to be a funny beach scene. The guys are going to get into trouble. They might try to sneak to the girl's room like they've done in pretty much every Persona game ever. And then they get there, and they're like, oh, isn't it fun to be on the beach? Man, don't adults suck.
I know, yeah.
Like, it's just like...
Yeah, they go back into that. I know.
And it's like all business. Like,
we should point out, we actually love the game.
Yes, we do love the game.
It sounds like we don't. We actually love the game.
It may be my second favorite game of all time.
We're just trying to more compare as far as, because Persona 4 Golden is probably our favorite games of all time.
So Resident Evil 3, we should probably talk on that real quick.
Yeah, so far, and I will tell you this, we're both coming in this with fresh eyes. It's weird that I think it's the only one out of the main Resident Evil games, from 1 to 7 that I have not played. And he hasn't played it either. Mm-hmm. So, I've read some comments and things about talking about Mercenary mode, and something about the clock tower. We don't even know what that is. It's sad to say, so we're not even sure. I'd love to see in the comments.
Oh, that they left it out?
They left out, as far as I hear. But yeah, we'd love to hear your comments on that, because we're not even sure exactly what that is. But
I know, yeah, because I feel like you just said, I feel like we're not missing out on that since we never got around to playing the original one.
So it sounds... I've heard mixed things about that, but from fresh eyes, it's really cool. Like, the beginning just is an awesome, very awesome beginning of the game.
I would say the beginning is as cool as... What game was I saying?
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Cool starting.
Which I thought Metal Gear Solid 5 had one of the best beginnings. Like, the first hour or so, that first intro of the game was incredible. It was so cinematic, but you were still actually playing. Like, there's times where it's like, oh, you're watching a cutscene, and then something hits you, and you're like, oh, like, nope, I'm actually playing the game. And Resident Evil 3 is exactly like that. Only Resident Evil stays like that throughout the game.
Yeah, that doesn't turn more mission
continues
based.
That way. I wasn't a fan of the mission based thing from Metal
Gear
Solid 5.
Yeah, some people I know are. Yeah. It's just because it was kind of a weird transition from the other.
Just because Metal Gear's always been a very story driven kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I'm really liking Resident Evil 3. I think they've done a great job with it. I know you were reading one review to me of someone who said, it's not as good as 2, or the Nemesis thing isn't as cool as 2 because in Resident Evil 2, Tyrant will just show up in the game, but when in Resident Evil 3, it's always a cutscene. And I know I called you that first night I was playing it, and I was like, I don't know who said that, but I don't feel like that's true. The very first hour of the game, yes, he does show up with a cutscene, but after that, that's not the case. He continues to show up, and it's not always with a cutscene. Like, you'll just be walking through the city, and then boom.
I at least understand what that person was trying to say from right now. I haven't played much of that yet. I've only played like an hour or so. But I can tell I can understand what they're saying from that thing, but it's also not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah,
I should say
no,
that.
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah,
because
it is a jump scare. It seems like too. Whenever it is a cinematic thing. Yeah.
But I was going into it after hearing that and expecting it to only be cutscenes when he showed up, but he will just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And with no cutscene or whatsoever, and it is I think it's harder than Resident Evil 2. To be honest, the remake.
Yeah, I don't have that. I haven't got far enough to know that.
Just because, I mean, when Mr. X or Tyrant or whatever you want to call him shows up, you can almost always turn around and just go the other way. Yes, it was kind of annoying because usually were on your way to do something.
Get them off your trail.
But when Nemesis shows up in 3, you almost can't run away because you'll turn and run. You can even do the quick turn and run, and he has that like tentacle, and he'll just grab you and pull you back and punch you in the face.
Gotcha.
And, like, it's just like you can't get away. You almost have to somewhat shoot him to like stop him for a second, and it does not give you enough ammo, at least that from what I've found to do it. Like where I'm at in the game, I have like 0 high powered ammo whatsoever, but I have like
tons of pistol bullets.
Yes, a ton of pistol bullets. But they don't really do much to him. So
one thing I read, and I don't know if you've got far enough into this or no, is that I've heard that they kind of make all the weapons relevant in this game because everyone can be upgraded to where you can kind of. Okay. I don't know if it's true because once again, it's just one of the things I read. Do too much reading on these things, but. I haven't got to that perspective.
I've upgraded a couple things. I haven't fully beaten it yet. I think I'm a little past halfway through.
Would you say, with what you just explained about 2 and 3, as far as Mr. X and Nemesis, that's a knock on the game, or do you feel like they both just kind of have their cool place for being something? No,
I think they both have their cool place. Yeah, they're definitely different. And I mean, if Nemesis was exactly like Mr. X, I feel like you just feel like they redid 2 a second time with.
Yeah, I gotcha.
A little bit different, in a different area. And I mean, some of the location in Resident Evil 3 is the same as 2. You even have to go to the police station for a while at one point. But so like I feel like if they would have been too much the same, people wouldn't have liked that. But no, it's good that it's different. It's not a hard kind of game that's like frustrating. It's not Dark Souls or Cuphead or whatever that game is that just you want to break your controller and TV because it's so hard.
I should point out I love Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but we're just saying it's not like it's not that extreme. But yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, there's so many good games right now. Like I can't even tell you. I think I have 60 unopened. It's ridiculous at this point. So we just got a lot of new ones and. We have Trials of Mana coming out here shortly, and Xenoblade.
Definitely be talking about that
one. Remakes coming out soon too, so yeah.
That'll probably do it for
now.
Today.
Yeah, we want to cover more, but we also don't want to go too much into spoilers and stuff. I wish I could explain more about the changes on.
But I will say, as far as gaming, this week of gaming, like what's come out in the last week. I would say Resident Evil 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Persona 5 Royal are the big ones.
Man. Yeah.
And if you have a PS4, you might as well get them all because they really are good.
Yeah.
And
highly recommend all those.
Yep. We are definitely enjoying them. But, all right. Well, thank you very much for watching. This is Complete Geek TV. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell button, hit like. Do all that stuff. Hit whatever you want to hit. As long as it's not a person, just
exactly.
Hit stuff.
Yeah, and also, guys, if you can, put on the comments, too, if you know, like I said, some of these changes, what you like, don't dislike, too. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See ya.